Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that the life you've been dreaming about is not waiting for luck? It's waiting for a decision. Think about that for a moment. Every extraordinary achievement, every successful business, every inspiring transformation began with one simple choice: the decision to stop accepting less than what was possible. Most people don't fail because they're not talented. They fail because they never truly commit. They spend years waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, or the perfect conditions. But let me tell you something powerful. There will never be a perfect time. The only time you truly have is right now. Have you ever noticed that the biggest frustration in life doesn't come from failing? It comes from knowing you're capable of more, but never becoming it. That's the silent pain millions of people carry every single day. They wake up, go through the motions, stay busy from morning until night, and yet deep inside they feel like they're moving without a destination. Here's the question that could change everything. If I asked you right now what you truly want from your life, could you answer in one clear sentence? Not what sounds impressive, not what other people expect from you. What do you actually want? The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your vision. Every remarkable achievement began as a crystal clear picture in someone's mind before it became reality. Nothing extraordinary has ever been created by someone who was confused about where they were going. Think about it. An airplane cannot reach its destination without coordinates. A ship cannot cross an ocean without a compass. Yet millions of people expect to build an extraordinary life without ever deciding exactly where they want to go. They hope things will somehow work out. They wait for luck, for perfect timing, or for someone else to point them in the right direction. But hope is not a strategy. Wishing is not a plan. Success begins the moment uncertainty ends. Most people don't have a motivation problem. They have a clarity problem. They say they want success, but what does success actually mean? They say they want happiness, but what kind of life would truly make them happy? They want financial freedom, better relationships, better health, and greater confidence, but they never define these goals in a way their minds can pursue. Your brain is like the world's most powerful navigation system. It cannot guide you toward a destination that hasn't been clearly programmed. The moment your vision becomes specific, your mind begins searching for opportunities, solutions, and possibilities that were always there but previously invisible. Imagine walking into a crowded room where hundreds of people are wearing different colors. The moment someone tells you to look for everyone wearing red, your attention immediately changes. Suddenly, you notice red everywhere. Those people were always there, but your focus changed what you could see. Life works the same way. When you become absolutely clear about your purpose, your mind starts recognizing opportunities that once seemed hidden. Doors you never noticed begin to open. Ideas begin to appear. The right conversations happen. Confidence grows because direction creates momentum. Here's what separates extraordinary people from average people. Extraordinary people decide before they achieve. They don't wait until success arrives to become committed. They become committed first, and success follows. They create a vision so compelling that excuses lose their power. When your reason is strong enough, your obstacles become smaller. When your purpose is powerful enough, your fear becomes weaker. Clarity creates emotional energy, and emotional energy creates consistent action. Too many people spend years chasing goals they never chose for themselves. They're living someone else's definition of success. Society tells them what career to pursue. Friends influence their decisions. Family expectations shape their future. Social media convinces them that someone else's dreams should become their own. Then one day they wake up successful by everyone else's standards, but empty inside because they've climbed the wrong mountain. Never confuse popularity with purpose. The life that fulfills you will always come from your own values, not someone else's expectations. Ask yourself questions that demand honest answers. What kind of person do you want to become? What impact do you want your life to have? What would you pursue if fear didn't exist? What dream keeps returning to your mind no matter how many times you ignore it? Those questions are uncomfortable because they require responsibility. Once you know what you truly want, you can no longer hide behind uncertainty, but that's also where your power begins. Remember this, clarity is not something you find, it is something you create. It comes from thinking deeply, making bold decisions, and refusing to settle for a life driven by habit instead of purpose. The moment you stop drifting and start deciding, everything changes. Your energy changes, your confidence changes, your daily actions change, and when your actions change consistently, Your future has no choice but to change with them. What if the only thing standing between you and the life you've always dreamed of isn't talent, money, intelligence, or luck? What if it's one simple decision that most people avoid every single day? The decision to take action. Think about it. How many incredible ideas have been buried because someone kept saying, I'll start tomorrow? How many dreams have disappeared because fear sounded louder than faith? Here's a truth that has transformed the lives of the world's highest achievers. Action creates opportunity, not the other way around. Most people wait until they feel confident before they begin. Winners begin first and confidence follows. The biggest lie your mind will ever tell you is that you need to be fully prepared before taking the first step. It whispers that you need one more course, one more book, one more perfect plan, one more guarantee that everything will work out. But life doesn't reward perfect planning. It rewards courageous execution. Every successful entrepreneur, athlete, leader, and innovator started before they felt completely ready. They didn't have every answer. They didn't know exactly how everything would unfold. And what they had was the willingness to move forward despite uncertainty. Too many people confuse movement with progress. They stay busy answering emails, scrolling through social media, talking about their goals, making endless plans, and convincing themselves they're being productive. But being busy and being effective are two completely different things. Real progress comes from taking actions that move you closer to your vision every single day. Ask yourself a powerful question. Is what I'm doing right now bringing me closer to my dream, or is it simply keeping me comfortable? That one question can completely change the direction of your life. Success isn't built through one giant breakthrough. It's built through thousands of small decisions made consistently over time. Every phone call you make, every chapter you read, every workout you complete, every skill you practice, and every difficult conversation you choose to have becomes another brick in the foundation of your future. The problem is that most people underestimate the power of small actions because they don't see immediate results. They quit too soon, forgetting that the strongest trees spend years growing their roots before anyone admires their height. Here's something extraordinary about momentum. It doesn't appear before you act. It appears because you act. The first step is always the hardest because you're carrying the weight of uncertainty. But once you begin, your mind starts adapting, your confidence grows, your experience increases, problems that once looked impossible become manageable because movement creates clarity. You don't figure out the entire journey before you start walking. You discover the path by taking the next step. Fear will always try to convince you that failure is too expensive, but staying exactly where you are is far more costly. Every day you postpone your dreams, you're paying with time, energy, opportunities, and potential you'll never get back. Time is the one investment you can never recover. That's why the most successful people protect their time with incredible discipline. They don't wait for motivation to magically appear. They create routines that force action regardless of how. They feel because they understand something most people never learn. Your feelings are temporary, but the results of consistent action can transform your life forever. You don't need to change your entire life overnight. You simply need to become the kind of person who refuses to let another day pass without moving forward. Some days your progress will be fast. Other days it will feel painfully slow. Keep moving anyway. Every step matters. Every effort compounds. Every action strengthens your character and builds the habits that separate ordinary people from extraordinary performers. The distance between where you are today and where you want to be is crossed one decision, one action, and one courageous step at a time. The future you've been waiting for doesn't begin when circumstances become perfect. It begins the moment you decide that. Taking action is no longer optional. Let me ask you a question that could completely change the direction of your life. What if the greatest obstacle you've been fighting isn't your job, your finances, your past, or the people around you? What if the greatest battle is happening inside your own mind every single day? The truth is this: before you win in the world, you must first win in your mind. Every success begins with a thought, and every failure usually begins with one too. The life you experience on the outside is often a reflection of the conversations you have with yourself on the inside. If your mind is filled with doubt, fear, and excuses, those thoughts will eventually shape your actions. But if your mind is filled with purpose, confidence, and possibility, your actions begin to align with the future you truly want. Most people underestimate the incredible power of their mindset. They believe success is determined by talent, education, or circumstances. But history tells a different story. Some of the most successful people in the world began with disadvantages that seemed impossible to overcome. They faced rejection, criticism, failure, and uncertainty. The difference wasn't that life treated them better. The difference was that they refused to let difficult circumstances define their identity. They understood a powerful principle. You cannot always control what happens to you, but you can always control what it means to you. That decision changes everything. Think about how often your mind tries to protect you by keeping you comfortable. The moment you decide to chase a bigger dream, an inner voice immediately begins whispering questions. What if you fail? What if people laugh at you? What if you're not good enough? What if someone else is better? Those thoughts feel real, but they are not facts. They are simply stories your brain creates to keep you safe from uncertainty. Unfortunately, the same mind that protects you from risk can also prevent you from reaching your greatest potential. Growth has never existed inside a comfort zone. Every meaningful achievement requires you to step beyond what feels familiar. Here's the secret that high performers understand. They don't eliminate fear before taking action. They refuse to let fear make their decisions. Courage isn't about feeling fearless. Courage is about moving forward while your heart is racing, your hands are shaking, and uncertainty is standing right in front of you. Every time you act despite fear, you send a powerful message to your brain that you are stronger than your doubts. Over time, confidence stops being something you hope for and becomes something you earn. Pay close attention to the words you speak to yourself because your mind is always listening. If you constantly repeat, I'm unlucky, I'm not smart enough, I never succeed, or people like me can't achieve big things, your brain begins searching for evidence to prove those beliefs true. But imagine replacing those thoughts with questions that create possibility. Instead of asking, why does this always happen to me? Ask, what can this situation teach me? Instead of saying, I can't do this, say, how can I learn to do this? One mindset keeps you trapped. The other opens doors that once seemed invisible. The quality of your future depends on the quality of your focus. Whatever you focus on grows stronger in your life. If you focus on problems, you'll find more problems. If you focus on opportunities, solutions begin to appear. This doesn't mean ignoring challenges or pretending life is easy. It means training your mind to look beyond to embrace setbacks and recognize possibilities that others overlook. Successful people don't have fewer problems than everyone else. They simply have a different way of interpreting them. Where others see roadblocks, they see lessons. Where others see endings, they see new beginnings. Every single day, your mind is being programmed. Whether you realize it or not, the books you read, the people you spend time with, the content you consume, the conversations you have, and the thoughts you repeatedly entertain all shape the person you're becoming. If you fill your mind with negativity, comparison, and excuses, don't be surprised when your life reflects those patterns. But when you intentionally feed your mind with knowledge, discipline, optimism, and belief, something remarkable begins to happen. Your decisions improve, your confidence grows, your resilience becomes stronger, and little by little, the person staring back at you in the mirror becomes someone capable of achieving goals that once felt impossible. Your greatest transformation will never begin with changing your circumstances. It begins the moment you choose to transform your thinking. Every extraordinary life is first built in the mind before it is ever seen by the world. What if I told you that the difference between the people who achieve extraordinary success and those who spend their lives chasing it has very little to do with motivation? It has everything to do with discipline. Motivation is exciting. It gives you energy, inspiration, and a temporary emotional high. But here's the problem. Motivation comes and goes. Some mornings you'll wake up feeling unstoppable. Other mornings you'll feel tired, discouraged, or overwhelmed. If your success depends on how you feel, your future will always be uncertain. The people who build remarkable lives understand one powerful truth. Discipline is the bridge between dreams and reality. When motivation disappears, discipline keeps moving. Think about the greatest athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, and leaders in the world. They don't become exceptional because they always feel inspired. They become exceptional because they honor their commitments, even when inspiration is nowhere to be found. They show up on difficult days. They practice when nobody is watching. They continue improving after everyone else has gone home. That's the hidden advantage of discipline. It transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results through consistency. Your habits are quietly shaping your future every single day. Every decision you make is casting a vote for the person you're becoming. When you choose to wake up early instead of hitting the snooze button, you're building discipline. When you complete your work instead of making excuses, you're building discipline. When you stay committed to your goals despite distractions, you're building discipline. Success is rarely created by one life-changing decision. It's created by thousands of discipline choices that most people consider too small to matter. Those small victories accumulate until they produce results that seem impossible to others. Here's a question worth asking yourself. Who is in control of your life? You or your emotions? If your emotions decide when you work, when you exercise, when you learn, or when you pursue your goals, then your emotions are leading your future. Emotions are powerful, but they are unreliable leaders. They change with circumstances, weather, opinions, and temporary setbacks. Discipline, on the other hand, remains steady. It allows you to continue moving forward even when your emotions are trying to convince you to stop. One of the greatest enemies of discipline is comfort. Comfort feels harmless because it offers immediate satisfaction. It tells you that missing one workout won't matter. It says delaying your project until tomorrow is no big deal. It convinces you that one distraction won't affect your future. But comfort has a dangerous habit of becoming permanent. The more often you choose what is easy today, the harder your tomorrow becomes. Discipline works in exactly the opposite way. It may demand effort in the present, but it creates freedom, confidence, and success in the future. Temporary discomfort is a small price to pay for a lifetime of achievement. The most disciplined people don't rely on willpower alone. They create systems that make success inevitable. They establish routines that eliminate unnecessary decisions. They protect their mornings, manage their time wisely, reduce distractions, and prioritize what truly matters. They understand that excellence isn't an occasional performance, it's a daily standard. Every routine becomes a promise they keep to themselves, and every promise they keep strengthens their confidence. That's why discipline doesn't just change your schedule, it changes your identity. There will be moments when progress feels invisible. You'll put in the work without immediate rewards. You'll stay consistent while others appear to move ahead faster. Those are the moments that separate professionals from dreamers. Anyone can stay committed. When results are exciting, few people continue when success is still hidden beneath the surface. But just like a farmer plants seeds long before the harvest arrives, disciplined people trust the process even when they cannot yet see the outcome. They know that every focused hour, every repeated effort, and every disciplined decision is building something far greater than today's results. It's building a stronger character, a sharper mind, and an unstoppable version of themselves that refuses to settle for anything less than excellence. What if the greatest advantage in your life was hidden inside the very experiences you've been trying to avoid? What if failure wasn't your enemy at all, but your greatest teacher? Most people hear the word failure and immediately associate it with embarrassment, disappointment, or defeat. They do everything they can to avoid making mistakes because they're afraid of being judged, rejected, or proving themselves incapable. But here's a truth that separates extraordinary people from ordinary ones. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is the price of admission to success. Every breakthrough, every achievement, and every remarkable story is built on moments that look like failure before they became lessons. Think about the people you admire most. Do you believe they reached the top without setbacks? Do you think they never doubted themselves, never made costly mistakes, or never experienced rejection? The reality is exactly the opposite. Every successful person has a collection of failures that nobody celebrates. The difference is that while most people allow failure to define them, high achievers allow failure to develop them. They don't ask, why did this happen to me? They ask, what is this experience trying to teach me? That one shift in perspective changes everything. Failure has an incredible ability to expose weaknesses that success often hides. When everything is going well, it's easy to believe you're doing everything right. But setbacks force you to slow down, evaluate your decisions, improve your skills, and strengthen your character. Every obstacle becomes a mirror reflecting the areas where growth is needed. Instead of seeing those moments as evidence that you're not good enough, begin seeing them as evidence that you're still growing. The strongest steel is forged under intense heat, and the strongest people are shaped through life's greatest challenges. Here's something most people never realize. Failure is temporary, but quitting can become permanent. Every time you stop because something didn't work the first time, you're making a decision based on emotion instead of possibility. Success has never belonged to the person who never failed. It belongs to the person who refused to stay down after falling. Resilience is one of the most valuable qualities you'll ever develop because life will never stop testing. The question is not whether setbacks will come, they will. The question is whether you will allow those setbacks to become your stopping point or your turning point. Imagine a child learning to walk. That child falls hundreds of times before taking steady steps. Yet no one looks at those falls and says, maybe walking just isn't for you. Why? Because everyone understands that falling is part of learning. Somewhere along the way, adults forget this truth. We begin expecting perfection from ourselves. And the moment we make a mistake, we start questioning our abilities. But growth has always followed the same pattern. Attempt, fail, learn, improve, repeat. The process never changes, only our willingness to trust it does. Every setback carries valuable information. A failed business teaches lessons about leadership and decision-making. A rejection teaches resilience and preparation. A missed opportunity teaches urgency. A difficult season teaches patience and emotional strength, if you choose to pay attention. Every disappointment contains wisdom that success could never provide. That's why successful people don't waste pain. They transform it into progress. They understand that every challenge they overcome increases their confidence because they begin proving to themselves that they can survive difficulties they once feared. The next time life doesn't go according to plan, resist the temptation to label yourself a failure. You are not your mistakes. You are not your worst day. You are not the opinion of people who never had the courage to pursue their own dreams. You are a work in progress. And every experience, good or bad, is shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the opportunities ahead. The greatest victories often belong to those who have been knocked down the most because they have learned something priceless that success alone could never teach. They have discovered that failure loses its power the moment you decide to use it as fuel instead of allowing it to become an excuse. Every setback becomes another step forward. Every lesson becomes another advantage. And every challenge becomes proof that you are growing into the person capable of achieving the life you've always imagined. What if the person you are today is only a small glimpse of who you could become? What if your greatest opportunities, your highest level of success, and your most fulfilling life are waiting on the other side of one powerful decision to never stop growing? Here's a truth that separates those who merely survive from those who truly thrive. Your income can grow. Your influence can grow. Your confidence can grow. But only if you continue to grow first. The world doesn't reward people for what they know today. It rewards those who are committed to becoming better tomorrow than they were yesterday. The moment you believe you've learned enough is the moment your progress begins to slow down. Growth isn't something you achieve once and then forget about. It's a lifelong commitment. Every successful person understands that there's always another level to reach, another lesson to learn, another skill to master, and another challenge that will stretch them beyond their current limits. The greatest danger isn't failure. It's becoming comfortable. Comfort convinces you that where you are is good enough. Growth reminds you that your potential is far greater than your current reality. Look around at the fastest changing world in history. Industries evolve, technology advances, new opportunities appear every single day while old ones disappear. The people who continue learning adapt to change and create opportunities. The people who stop learning slowly become left behind. Your future doesn't depend on how much you knew 5 years ago. It depends on your willingness to keep learning today. Every book you read, every conversation you have with someone wiser than you, every new skill you develop, and every challenge you embrace becomes another investment in the person you are becoming. Here's a powerful question to ask yourself. When was the last time you intentionally made yourself uncomfortable because you knew it would help you grow? Growth rarely feels convenient. It asks you to leave familiar routines, question old beliefs, develop new habits, and step into situations where you might not immediately succeed. That's why so many people avoid it. But remember this, every expert was once a beginner. Every confident speaker was once nervous. Every successful entrepreneur once had no customers. Every leader once struggled with self-doubt. The difference wasn't natural talent. The difference was the willingness to keep improving long after others gave up. One of the greatest investments you will ever make is investing in yourself. Money spent on education, valuable experiences, coaching, personal development, or learning practical skills is never truly an expense. It is an investment that continues paying dividends for the rest of your life. The knowledge you gain can never be taken away from you. Markets may change, careers may shift, and circumstances may become difficult, but the person you become through continuous learning remains your greatest competitive advantage. Pay attention to people you surround yourself with because growth is contagious. If you spend your time with people who constantly complain, make excuses, and settle for mediocrity, it becomes easy to lower your own standards. But when you surround yourself with people who challenge you, inspire you, and encourage you to think bigger, your perspective begins to expand. The conversations you have shape the decisions you make, and the decisions you make shape the life you ultimately live. Choose environments that demand your best rather than accepting your average. Never allow yesterday's success to become today's limitation. Celebrate your achievements, but don't build a permanent home there. Every accomplishment should become a foundation for your next level of growth, not a reason to stop striving. The most fulfilled people are rarely those who have achieved everything. They are the ones who continue discovering new possibilities within themselves. They wake up each day with curiosity, purpose, and the determination to become wiser, stronger, more disciplined, and more capable than they were before. They understand that success is never a final destination. It is a continuous journey of becoming. Every lesson learned, every fear faced, every skill developed, and every challenge embraced expands their potential and prepares them for opportunities they could never have imagined. When you commit to lifelong growth, you don't just change your future. You transform your identity into someone who is always ready for the next level, no matter what life places in your path. As you leave today, remember this powerful truth. Your life changes the moment your decisions change. Don't wait for confidence before you act. Action creates confidence. Don't wait for opportunity. Create it. Don't wait for someone to believe in you. Believe in yourself first. Years from now, you'll look back at this moment. Make sure it's the day you decided to stop settling, stop doubting, and start becoming the person you were meant to be. Stand tall, think bigger, work harder, stay hungry, never give up. Because the life you want is waiting on the other side of the decisions you make today. Now go out there and make your life extraordinary.